dedicated music performance, that playing a classical music or art music. They have functions to perform in liturgical or let's use a simpler language now, gospel application. As I cannot say, okay, nobody perform in the church. Now, back to your question. Having studied or having gone through training in these musical instruments, how do you get well compensated for your activity as a church musician? I think, is that the question?
In fact, aside from the instrument, also now on registered words, contemporary music, seventh clinical.
Okay, no, that's music theory.
Of course.
Quiver,
semi-quiver, clinical.
Okay.
One is to play keyboard. The lay is seventh.
Let's break that one down. In music generally, when you study music, there are different areas you can concentrate. For example, at the bachelor's level of training as a musician or as a musicologist generally, okay? Even though having a first degree does not make you a musicologist. But we have...
Sir?
Yeah.
Having a first degree
in music does not make you a musicologist.
Taláwọn tí ó lọ sí school rárá. Turning around in musicologists, maybe because one produce music.
I'm not surprised. You know why? Because we like titles.
So who is a musicologist, sir?
Very good. Before you can be referred to as a musicologist, you must have not only attained your first degree, you must also have attained a second degree with research in the study of music, which we call musicology, or the study of music, longe musicology.
So she musicologist then, sir?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Wow. She musicologist then, sir?
Absolutely. At his level,
yes.
We can safely put him as an ethnomusicologist.
Ethnomusicologist.
Yes.
So, Tani ethnomusicologist.
Okay. Let me take it off.
So music fair you pay.
Let me take it.
If a best artist me, Dr. Orlando, I should fetch me.
You can take it up, Lati. Study music can expose and see so many things. Now, as you begin to go on any areas, now what we call ethnomusicology means you are now studying music in the culture. At is sort of violin, violin is not my culture, but violin. But now I'm an African, and now come back to my culture. I'll now begin to study the music of my culture. How music relates to my culture. How music make me, because you see in Africa, one funny thing people seem not to know that the word music is even strange to us in Africa. There's no, we are Yoruba. There's not one word in Yoruba that you can translate to music. Let's try.
There's no one
word in Yoruba that you can translate to music. No, not even Yoruba.
Let's try. Encompass what music stands for.
Encompass what you know as music. Dance, orin. Òyìnbó ló pè ní music. We call it a constellation of all arts. Inú music wà ní Africa. Ní gẹ̀lẹ̀dẹ́ wà tó ti máa gbére lérí, èrè is part of it. Ijó wà ńbẹ̀, ògèdè wà ńbẹ̀, idán wà ńbẹ̀.
Nínú music wà.
Táwa ń pè ní eré, ẹ̀fẹ̀ wà ńbẹ̀. Kò ń ṣe orin kíkọ tóyìnbó mọ́.
Okay.
So now for ethnomusicology, so for me to but now I have to relate it to my culture. That's what ethno means, ethnic. Music in ethnic. Then I have to now we talk about juju. Juju is not classical music, but it's not music. So as an ethnomusicology, I should be open up juju and talk about juju and talk about apala and talk about all those things, because you see your culture represents you. If you lose your culture, you are nobody. That is what will make me an African, that will make an Oyinbo man listen to me. Because if I meet an Oyinbo man today and he wants to know about me, it's not even going to ask about my scientific invention. He's going to ask about me, who are you? And that means my language, my music, my culture, All those things make me. So we ethnomusicology, we now look at the musical aspect of me as an African. I should be able to discuss it. That is what makes me an African.
But we are trying to sound like them. We are trying to pattern our music after them, using their own instruments and borrow wa sodo wa. And we believe that until we sound like them, until we use their instruments, that's when we can be fully accepted.
It's a wrong perception because
Because
because you see there's this thing you call colonial mentality. But the what we call post-colonialism, I think change there. Because you begin to realize that Africa is actually the home of art. So why must I emulate you? So we are beginning to look inward. That's very important because if you look at Afrobeat, for instance, I was telling Alaji while we were sitting down there, the British football team, they won World Cup and they came back home. They wanted to celebrate the victory. And they decided, okay, Kilafef is surprise coach because they love their coach more. One organize, one close, still one can surprise the Burna Boy. The woman started weeping.
Live appearance.
Burna Boy is out there. If you look at how we are occupying, filling their theater to bring, that means we are beginning to realize where there are values in us. Although music is a world phenomenon, so we cannot rule out the fact that a ya instrument, àwọn náà ń yá tiwa. À ń sọ̀rọ̀ gòjé àti sọ̀rọ̀ flute mi báyìí. You see the controversial lesson ńbo ni ó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Those things, if we submit to our own scientific search, life itself came from Africa. Life itself came from Africa because we are there were 3 universities in Africa. I think one in Mali, 2, one in Morocco or Egypt. Tí ó wà kíkí tí wọ́n tó wà. Ṣé wọ́n pé wọ́n loot àwọn universities ẹni tán kó material wa lọ tán kó lọ tí wọ́n. So don't let us go there. So because art cannot be in isolation. A gbọ́dọ̀ yá lọ́wọ́ yín kẹ́ yá lọ́wọ́ tiwa. What is wrong is that to say no man is superior.
Okay.
She understand. Ama ya ni, ama ya ile, ama ya miba. Even tone aya diatonic scale, awani pentatonic scale.
Okay, awala ni pentatonic.
Awala ni pentatonic. Àwọn ló ní bó àti ya because nígbà tán kó wa lẹ́rú lọ nbí àmú pentatonic wà lọ́wọ́. Nígbà tán débẹ̀ wọ́n inflect àtúnkò padà. Bí life ṣe rí ni.
Pentatonic inú local music orin tiwa wo láti lè rí.
Orin wa ò ní mi fa àti
most of our
folk songs.
Okay.
If you look at most of our folk songs, bó ṣe rí.
Olúròǹbí for example.
Olúròǹbí jẹ́jẹ́ ewé.
Ẹni rí fan but àti mix ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú tiwọn. Gbàtàn dé so.
Ẹnì kan sọ fún mi pé KSA wọ́n máa ń kọrin lórí pentatonic scale.
Yes.
Wọ́n ní commander máa ń kọrin lórí diatonic scale.
Because commander ti mọ church.
Oh, okay.
Because pentatonic scale ibi tó gbà wọ life wa nìyẹn through church. Diatonic scale through church ló gbà wọ life wa.
Okay.
But traditional tẹ́ bá lo Èkìtì nsìn. Tẹ́ bá lo Èkìtì ìgbé tẹ́ bá ti ń kọ traditional songs pentatonic náà máa gbọ́. You see, a lot of things has been wrong with us. Another thing látún sọ bá àwọn òyìnbó wá ní ní harmony. Melody, rhythm nìkan la ní. No.
Which is absolute.
Lè sọ tán lé ní bladderdash. Because harmony ti wọ̀ dàbí tí wọ́n condemn because kò yé wọn. Look at orin àwọn Ìjẹ̀ṣà. Wọ́n máa kọrin ní parallel second. Èkìtì parallel second parallel third. But kò yé wọn. Wọ́n wá condemn wọ́n ní rhythm nìkan. We are very rich. We are very blessed. Not even mineral resources but human resources and humanity resources. So now going to the question pé téèyàn bá kọ́ gbogbo kíní ẹ̀ ó wá dé church wọ́n sanwó fún ẹ ọ̀rọ̀ pọ̀ ńbẹ̀ o.
Ẹja sọ because kíní yẹn àwọn èèyàn ti máa ń fa
wọ́n ti máa ń sọ.
But before we even get there, let me just finish because some people will be following us about for a graduate level kíní nǹkan tí how will you call yourself a musician? So I was talking about you can specialize at your first degree as a music educator.
Yes.
Okay.
By specializing in music education, You can also specialize in music performance.
Yes.
That performance will now
Composition.
depend on the musical instrument that you choose, or it could even be your voice. It could be a voice specialist. Then we have music composition, where you specialize as a composer in the art way, in the classic way. Okay?
Only the classic way.
Well, at least because you're going to give a proof of your composition, and
Okay.
it has to be submitted
Okay.
as a music score. So it has to be. But then, if what you composed is in African style, it will not be rejected, as long as you can score what you
Compose
have
in paper.
composed.
paper.
That is all that is needed. And then you can also graduate as as somebody who studied musicology.
Okay.
Do you understand? You can graduate as somebody who studied musicology. But like I said, it is not enough for you to refer to yourself as a musicologist if you still earned a bachelor's degree. You still need to step higher. You can follow up with that musicology at a higher degree, maybe with your master's, and when you have done well with that, then you can safely call yourself a musicologist.
An expert.
An expert.
You are not an expert at first degree level.
So we can now go back to answering the issue of having studied all
Ká
this.
tó lọ
Ká
because
tó lọ, eh.
àwọn kankan tún
Ó tún jáde lọ.
ó tún jáde. Now we have, because tẹ́yìn bá ń discuss music, èmi á relate ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn
Reality
tó
which
súnmọ́ àwa.
actually yes.
Now àwọn olórin wa tó ti dá wa lára yá, both dead, àwọn tó ti sùn àtàwọn tó ń ṣì wà láyé, we love to always call them musicians. Are they all musicians?
So the question is, what defines a musician?
A musician. Àbí singer gan ni ẹlòmíì tá a believe pé musician ni bàbá ni. Then ṣé musician superior to singer?
These are questions.
Musician. The word musician is very deep, because you can be a singer. The dictionary definition of musician means somebody who can play one instrument. You must play an instrument.
You must.
You must play an instrument. So you are a singer. You will be a singer, but the dictionary definition of musician, somebody who can sing and play
a musical instrument.
A musical instrument.
Okay.
That's as simple as that.
Is it. But in our own level, when you now study it, because you see people say, tí èèyàn bá mọ ohun tó ń ṣe, tó bá lọ church, tó ń gbà as church, you as a graduate of music tó mọ ohun tó ṣe, or maybe masters, ó ti ju organist lọ. Yes, organist is just somebody who plays the organ. That is what the new nomenclature is, a master of music. For instance, if I volunteer láti play láti máa ṣiṣẹ́ in church, you can't take me or him as an organist, because what he does as master of music, amama kà fún yín, ó lè play organ yẹn, but that is just part of it. Ó lè compose, ó lè arrange, ó lè train, ó lè harmonize. Ṣé o kò ṣe yẹn ti pọ̀? But ẹni tó ń play organ ó kàn dín tó bá gbé síwájú ẹ̀ á play. Ó lè má lè produce ní tó ń play. Tá bá kọrin kan bí nsìn, tẹ́ bá fún mi tẹ́ record ẹ̀ tí n bá máa lọ, by the time I'm sending it back to you, mo lè ti orchestrate ẹ̀ kó ti dín tí Nigerian National Army. That is my job.
Okay.
So the fact that you play in church does not make you a musicologist. It will only make you an organist. Because when you say you are a master of music, you must know everything. Master of music, lágbájá fẹ́ ṣe birthday fún ní kíní, can you get us a music? And it comes like that, because bó ṣe wà nínú history ni àwọn handel wọ̀nyẹn tó fi grow ni.
Musicians now.
Musicians, so they do more than performing, than playing it. Because you don't need to study music before you play organ. You learn it.
You don't need to study music
before you play.
You just learn.
Musical instrument.
But ó gbọ́dọ̀ lè sight read.
Study music ju kó sight read lọ.
Okay.
It takes a lot of things. It takes a lot of even listening language, because etí ni iṣẹ́ wa. Etí ni iṣẹ́ afọ́jú study music.
If you are tone deaf.
If you are tone deaf.
You can't.
In fact, my university, we are the only one that is allowed to do auditioning before we admit. Because that about auditioning, if I told Yorùbá wà náà ni Yorùbá, wọ́n ní kò létí ìlú. Kì í ṣe pọ́n fi ń bú ẹ, kì í ṣe pé o fi ṣe Ọlọ́run bò bí Ọlọ́run ẹ ṣe dá ẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ tó ń lọ ọwọ́ òsì ni kì í ṣe èbù ò létí ìlú ò ní discipline yẹn ò ṣe tí ó lè lọ ṣe nǹkan mi.
ẹni tí ò bá ti létí ìlú tó bá dárin kò ní rí gbé dáadáa.
àṣé wọn ló ń kọ láṣẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ẹni tí ò mọ̀ ọjọ́ kò ń ṣẹ̀bi ẹ̀ èyí tó ń gbọ́ ló ń jó.
nǹkan tó ń gbọ́ ló ń jó sí.
So what you need to be a musicologist, it's more than all these things. You are an expert. In fact, brother Yemi Akinpelu, I cannot, maybe I don't know whether I know it. Yemi Akinpelu, I can't remember when last he sits on the organ, but it's one of the best we have around.
One of the best.
In fact, to extend that what we call music technologies. Àtúntì incorporate tó bá ń play piano mo gbọ́dọ̀ lè tú piano ṣe. Yes, tí n bá ń play I must be able to bí ẹni tó ń wa mọ́tò tí mọ́tò ẹ̀ bàjẹ́ tó bá
ó gbọ́dọ̀ lè ṣe.
We are now teaching students that tó bá jẹ́ organ ẹ̀ bá bàjẹ́ ó yẹ kó o lè, at least you should try to understand. So it's an holistic thing. It's an holistic thing. It's more than mo kàn play in church. No. For instance, in advanced country, there shouldn't be you shouldn't have a church being built without a musicologist being involved in the formation, like your construction of it. Because we are talking about sound. He's the master of sound. Olóma sọ fún yín pé mo máa ń ṣe yẹ̀yẹ́ kan mo ní church kan tí máa ń lọ stage wà báyìí wọ́n gbé control kìíní síbí báyìí. No. Musicologist sọ fún yín láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ he works with the architect láti sọ fún yín pé bí sound yẹn ṣe máa project lélẹ̀ material tí ẹ máa lò lélẹ̀ so it's a big thing ẹni ẹ lè máa play music.
In fact, I remember in the days of pipe organ lè construct a church
kẹ
expert ẹni tó máa
ẹ̀fọ́ àwọn àti kọ́kọ́ wà wò.
Mo lọ sí St. John's Cathedral Ìlọrọ̀ recently.
Church mi yẹn.
Mo wá rí
wọ́n ṣe fi tó lé.
Kíní ẹ̀ ga gan-an ló ṣe but mi rò pé àwọn kíní ẹ̀ ṣì wà mọ̀ sí.
Ó ṣì wà.
Torí wọ́n ní 19 mi mo yàtọ̀ náà ti ra yẹn.
Yes, it's church, that's not church. Ó ṣì wà but cost ẹ̀ ni. So because of this electronics organ, ó ti wá place but when you still see people who value it wọ́n ra.
The advent of amplification ó ti simplify the need for those kind of structures.
Because wọ́n wá wọn church yẹn wọ́n mú lọ factory they will build that to the specification
of
that
exactly
specification of that church.
Specification
of that church. So there are various experts. Mr. Ali na teacher wa.
Yeah.
He studied organ building.
Ṣé ẹjọ́ lọ sí school kan ni? Ẹjọ́ teacher wa teacher.
Senior yìí ni wọ́n mi ò bá wọn university.
Nífẹ̀ẹ́ àbí?
Nífẹ̀ẹ́ yes. Senior mi ò bá wọn university ẹ̀gbọ́n mi gbẹ̀lagbà ni wọ́n ẹ̀gbọ́n mi ni wọ́n but even you see that's the funny thing. University just exposes you to a lot of things. Even while mo ń ṣe létorí àwọn youth because o ní degree o mean pé o ti mọ gbogbo ẹ̀. You won't believe that some of the things I learn now I learn it from him and Bra Yemi Akinpelu. Màá fi university sílẹ̀ because n tán kọ́ wa ní university tí màá wá bá wọn ní Iléṣà.
Àwọn wà ní college
àwọn wà ní college máa àti Bọ̀ráyẹmí gbogbo oratorio tí mo ń kọ up till today ọwọ́ Bọ̀ráyẹmí Akínpẹ̀lú rẹ̀ lọ àwọn ló kọ́kọ́ score ìlú tí mo lù lù níbẹ̀ tó ń score ẹ̀ báyìí when he was doing his masters and those are things.
And he is a Muslim.
That's another thing. That's another thing.
Because gbogbo kọ́tà ń sọ ọ́ tẹ̀ kan relate to church.
Mo church.
Àwọn dẹ̀ jẹ́ Muslim.
Yeah, but you see that's another thing which is of interest. Why are we relating music to church? Because Western music nìyẹn now. Àpàlà ò ń ṣe church. Tiwa nìyẹn. Wéré ò ń ṣe church. Wákà ò ń ṣe church. Dàdàkúàdà ò ń ṣe church.
Àdàmọ̀ kì í ṣe church.
Àdàmọ̀ ń ṣe church. Àdàmọ̀ ń ṣe church. But because nígbà tí church they impose it, I'm a Christian so apologize, they impose it on us and it seems to be everything church. No, we have a very rich culture beyond the church which I'm ready to prove anytime. We have there's an ozombe in Ile-Ife tó máa ń pè ní abẹ̀bẹ̀ ọ̀sọ́m now. Abẹ̀bẹ̀ báyìí náà fi ń ṣe. Those are rich things. Look at the paraphernalia Ọọ̀ni of Ife. Ṣé àwọn pé agogo náà ń lù? Ṣé understand? Agogo. There's an ozombe in palace Aláàfin ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀
Ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀.
ọ̀nà ṣe máa ní ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́ba ń jó ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́ba ń jó.
No, I think the challenge that we had to do with the demonization of our cultural practices. Ẹbọ ni o, bó ṣe ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Islam náà ló ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Christian. Ẹlẹ́bọ ni ó máa wá kọrin, àwọn sọ̀rọ̀ ilé wa. Ó ti dẹ́lẹ́bọ nù. You know? So I think we suffered a lot from that. Ó dẹ̀ affect psyche ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa bá ṣe ń dàgbà bọ̀ until the likes of Professor Wole Soyinka decided not to use his should we call it baptismal or English name tí ẹ má pè mí ní Henry Olúwọlé Soyinka ní orúkọ mi. Then some of us then will like ṣe ní pè mí ní Sulaiman, you know, you feel good. Ṣe ní pè mí ní Richard, Richie. But àwọn yẹn ti rí beyond nǹkan táwa ń wò pé look, those things are different from who you are. I found it comfortable to remain a Muslim despite my exposure to music. Tó bá pẹ́ ẹlòmíì ni mí, I will have become a Christian.
Kí ni mú àwọn kọ́ Muslim olórúkọ kan tó máa ń gbé art náà pé kèfèrí forbidden art is forbidden,
which is not necessarily true. It is
not necessarily true.
It is not.
Because
nígbà tánàbí dé Medina, orin àti ìlú náà fi pàdé ẹ̀. Ó dẹ̀ lórin kan tá máa ń kọ tọ̀lẹ̀ alébádìrò aláìná tọ̀lẹ̀ alébádìrò aláìná nizami àti wádà wàjábá ṣukúrò aláìná rẹ̀hábà ìlàhídà.
Orin ẹ̀kọ́ ni Adéwọlá Yorùbá akọni bọ́ọ̀bù ni. Ọmọ ṣe kọ́ yàtọ̀. Tọ̀lí àríbù aláìná aláìná àwọn ọmọ.
Bá tiẹ̀ ṣe ẹ máa wòrán bá tiẹ̀ ṣe bá ṣe ń ka Quran tó máa ń pè ní Mamun Nabi, it's musical. It's musical.
You mean
Tagwid?
Module?
Ṣé module náà bí ẹ̀mí pé mi wọ́n pè it's musical. Ṣé ọ̀nà tó bá engage it won't be like that. Recitation of Quran is music. Bó ṣe ń pèrún nǹkan music ni na. I can notate bó ṣe ń pèrún fún yín.
Did you know that my audition to study music
was
nǹkan tí
wọ́n ṣe ń pèrún
Professor Vida, Professor Adebite
táwọn pé kí ni ẹdùn
Muslim yẹn ó yá pèrún fún wa. Say the call to prayer. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé nǹkan tẹ́mi fi ń pàrọ̀ ní.
So àwọn òyìnbó yẹn tí wọ́n mú wa mọ́lẹ̀ wọ́n fẹ́ and funny enough is that the first set of people that Western missionaries tó láwọn ń kọ́ wa ní music they are not actually musicologists. What happened was that ọkọ wa ó lóun àlùfáà ìyàwó wa ẹ̀ dùn but ìyàwó ní idea music ibi tó ti ń bọ̀ àwa káwọn ọmọ wa jọ.
Máa kọ́ wọn ní hymn.
So they are not actually musicologists. You see, that's why we must begin to tell our stories. If you don't tell your story, somebody else will tell it for you.
They won't represent you well.
They won't represent you well. We must begin to tell our story by ourselves. There's a development, the new developing discipline, we call it African musicologist. Because ethnomusicology tí mo sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan, a tún ti wò pé òyìnbó náà lè sọ pé òun fẹ́ wá study Yorùbá music. Ànàgó náà lè lóhùn wa, àwa nínú African musicology. It's only African that can tell my stories. Because it is me that is involved. When you look at me and you say the only thing I know is rhythm, I suffer pé rọ ni o. Mo ní harmony,
of course.
Mo ní arrangement, mo ní everything. When you look at me and say juju music was from Christians, because I'm rọ ni pé kí ló pa juju àti juju ti wà tipẹ́tipẹ́.
I wanted to prove it so many times.
Juju ti wà tán ti ń ṣe fàájì wọn nísàlẹ̀ Èkó tán ti ń ṣe everything. But in music, no one borrow, man. So that's why what we are doing here, we are telling our stories, and that story will outlive us. Because if we don't do it, there are so many submissions, treatises that has been written that are lying down in the university all over the world that contradict what we are.
Exactly.
Tó ti pè wá lórúkọ tá a jẹ́. Tó ti nígbà tí Richard Lander tó wá sí tó visit Yorùbá. Tó lọ sí Ọ̀yọ́ Katunga wọ́n dẹ̀ pàdé àwọn ọdẹ wọ́n pàdé ẹ̀ wọ́n jó wọ́n ṣe everything. If you see the record of Richard Ayinde bó ṣe describe ẹ̀, no black man will ever be happy because kò rí irú ẹ̀ rí. Ó lẹ́rẹ̀kẹ́ wọn ó ní there were protruding cheeks, very ridiculous thing. But nígbà táwa wá jókòó pé no bá a ṣe rí nìyẹn, ṣé you understand? Because bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ṣe wà ńgbà kan nìyẹn. So we must begin to document our history. We must begin to archive this thing because at the archive return color, we must begin to excavate. Put
the stories right.
Yeah,
now.
put the stories right for them, and in all sincerity to them, they want to hear us. But the issue is, are we also talking about ourselves? That's it. Because African, until recently, ló máa lọ international world, tí ò ní mú nǹkan kan lọ jẹ́ pé tán bá fún bẹ́ẹ̀. But if I'm going now, if I want to talk about drums, I'll go with my drums.
Exactly.
That is why things like scoring, yes, over foreign, but it is a medium that will explain for me. But why will I score Beethoven? Why don't I score Ayé ń retí ẹlẹ́yà mi o, wọ́n ń retí ẹlẹ́yà mi o lójoojúmọ́? Then mi náà kó wọn jọ, máa kó wọn pọ̀, wọ́n á kó òyìnbó akọ dúdú akọ. That means I'm giving my own culture mileage. If you see choral orchestra dominated by their own traditional instruments, why don't we have our own instruments?
In fact, I remembered when we were studying world music then, the audio aspect of it exposed us to very, very strange sounds. Àwọn Javanese gamelan.
Yes.
Tó bá gbọ́ bí àwọn instruments wọn bó ṣe ń dún, wọ́n máa wọ́n dà pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ onílẹ̀ sọ pé ẹ̀ ń ṣe. Kò jọ bí bàtí èèyàn bá ń grunt, irregular occurrence of rhythm.
Bọ́ndẹ̀ ṣe rí ni.
Music on them.
Bọ́n ṣe rí ni. Look, let me cite a very funny example. Ṣé àwọn pé tá a bá ń gúnyán, wọ́n máa léèyàn kan ò mọ̀yán gún. Ṣé àwọn pé it's just a very simple thing like pé you didn't key into the rhythm of that. Pọ́nkípọ́, pọ́nkípọ́, but ìwọ́n débẹ̀ o ò ní rhythm yẹn wọ́n lè lé ẹ̀dá.
Kò mọ̀yán gún
Kò mọ̀yán gún nìyẹn náà, kì í ṣe pé kò ní bọ̀ o fall into that rhythm. And that is, tẹ́ bá dé ọ̀dọ̀ alágbẹ̀dẹ tó ń finá, kò kàn ń ṣe gbùgàgbùgàgbùgà. It forms a rhythm.
Steady.
Tí ẹ bá fẹ́ lọ sí délé pè mí oníkáwá bó ń ṣe àrò, akànní débẹ̀, we form a rhythm. Àbá ṣe rí nìyẹn. You understand? And we must begin to assess ourselves from that perspective. And that is where we begin to place value on ourselves.
So looking at your church thing,
yeah.
Where do you want us to land it? Are you thinking? No, are you thinking that musicians who have studied music, do you think they are being well compensated for their past studies to arrive at that level, or do you think the church is not doing enough?
No, two things. Do they deserve compensation because iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló ń ṣe and they are doing it for God? That's leg one. Leg two, they deserve to be paid because wọ́n kọ́ iṣẹ́, wọ́n mọ iṣẹ́, wọ́n dẹ̀ máa survive pẹ̀lú family wọn àfi tó wáyé pé wọ́n fẹ́ castrate wọn pé ẹ má ní family bí lẹ máa gbé títí láì. So two legs ni.
No, I think doctor is in a better position to.
Ṣé kìíní ẹ̀ it kept coming and on. Wọ́n ní Yorùbá ní téèyàn bá lo oògùn.
Màá fẹ́ kẹ́ extend there beyond the academically trained.
Yes.
Àwọn tó jẹ́ performance.
Àwọn máa tẹ̀ gbé kọjá church. Like just limit it to art. Ṣé wọ́n ní téèyàn bá lo oògùn lọ mú lọ wá lo oògùn ló máa ń rí tó bá jẹ́ ẹrú ló wá lọ wà tí tó bá ti rẹ̀ wà kẹrù tó bá jẹ́ ẹrú náà ni. Now you see the problem comes from our tradition and it boils down to the philosophy of iṣẹ́ and èrè in Yoruba land. From our tradition orin kíkọ ijó jíjó èrè ló bọ́ sí. That's it. It's a philosophy. It's a Yoruba philosophy. Nígbà tí n bá ṣe tán tá a bá ṣe tán à lọ abẹ́gi à lọ ṣe eré. We feel eléré kan bọ̀ ó lọ ṣeré ó lọ tàkìtì eré ni. You don't deserve to be played. And that is why in our traditional community the drummer is also the priest, is also the farmer, is also the thing. His main income will not come from drumming or from ó fẹ́ lọ ṣeré nìyẹn. You understand? But iṣẹ́ Iṣẹ́ means o fẹ́ lọ ṣe iṣẹ́, o gbúdọ̀ jẹ́ ń bẹ̀. You understand? So,
Sorry, in other words, we are looking at pé ẹni tó jẹ́ musician yẹn ààrin ní rí pé kó jẹ́ pé music yẹn ló fẹ́ fi jẹun.
ó fẹ́ eré ló kàn ṣe.
Àbí gbẹ́nàgbẹ́nà ní tẹ́lẹ̀.
Gbẹ́nà ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ tó bá wá ń ṣe iṣẹ́ eré.
Òun náà ni mò ń bọ̀ nísìn. Now, now kí ni eré? Eré comes about eré through talent. O kàn ní talent, or o inherit ẹ̀, or o kàn gbé inú ilé. That is what we call, o ní skills ẹ̀. That is what we call eré. Ìwọ gan feel pé o lè deserve. Now, what is iṣẹ́? Iṣẹ́ is art. Art is what you arrived at consciously. O jókòó, o ní skills. O ní kíní, o wá jókòó, wá study with ní art. So you have contributed a lot of time, a lot of effort to make your skills a art. Do you understand?
So you are deliberate.
You are deliberate, o fẹ́ ṣe. Now this is Ibadan. Let me cite an example before I go on. IICC ní ayé àwọn bọ̀dá Ṣẹ́gun Ọdẹ́gbàmí làwà. Ṣẹ́gun kan lọ́fíìsì. Wọ́n á lọ ọ́fíìsì láàárọ̀. Wọ́n á ṣiṣẹ́ wọn. Tó bá di ìrọ̀lẹ́, wọ́n á lọ gbá bọ́ọ̀lù. Wọ́n ń gbá bọ́ọ̀lù bí ẹni ń ṣeré nígbà yẹn.
IICC then used to be
Industrial Investment Credit Corporation àbí nǹkan. Wọ́n ń gbá bọ́ọ̀lù bí ẹni lọ ṣeré ni. But nígbà tí Kẹ́ṣì Yẹ̀kínì tán dé, tó yẹ pé tán bá ti jí wọn ní ọ́fíìsì wọn ní kankan, wọ́n á kọ́kọ́ lọ físíò. Wọ́n lọ Portugal, wọ́n lọ iṣẹ́ wọn kó ti di iṣẹ́. But they not paid more. That is it. Now let's bring it back to music. Now, àwọn people eré wa, àlùfáà ó lọ, ó dá church ẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ó wá rí èèyàn kan tó ní òun kàn fẹ́ máa bá fi ṣeré. Kò ní fún lówó náà. Because you are just doing what anybody could do.
Wá kọrin
fún wa, ó ti kọrin, wá ṣe kinní kan. But
pàtẹ́wọ́ fún
Sister Mary. If they know that this is your job, and ìwọ gan mọ̀ pé this is your profession. Kì í ṣe pé bóyá o lọ ọ́fíìsì wá gbá bọ́ọ̀lù rán ẹ̀. This is your profession. You will ask for pay. So àwa ló máa bí mo ṣe ní bó nípa bá ṣe pé igbá ẹ̀. Wọ́n ṣe máa ń pè. Now, and if the church knows that you are adding value, they will pay you. That means, and what does adding value mean? You are doing more than ordinary. You understand what I'm saying? Now, irú èmi sìn, my first degree I studied keyboard. I could even write keyboard. So you know, every Sunday I give you new music. I give you new tunes. Because we study music, we don't only hear music, we can see music. Yeah. You will pay me. Because if you don't pay me at work, there will be an opening. Because you see, the ideal of everybody a musician is far gone.
But if you walk away, Ọlọ́run tẹ́ ń sìn mẹ́ńkọ́.
Now let's come back to Ọlọ́run. Let's come back to Ọlọ́run. Now a ní iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run ni. Ta ló ń ṣe iṣẹ́ èṣù? Torí ẹni tó ń tajà lágbé ni kì í ṣe iṣẹ́ èṣù ló ń ṣe o. Ta ni ó ń ṣe iṣẹ́ èṣù? Every one of us iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run la ṣe. So why tó ṣe jẹ́ pé iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run tèmi ni ò ní lówó lórí? Àlùfáà iṣẹ́ wo ló ń ṣe? Iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló ń ṣe. Ẹni tó nígbà tẹ́ bá sanwó fún ẹni tó ta buns fún yín, ẹni tó ṣe decoration church, ó gbowó. Ẹni tó ń gbálẹ̀ church, ó gbowó. Ṣé iṣẹ́ èṣù làwọn yẹn ń ṣe? Ṣé bí iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run gbowó? Why tó ṣe jẹ́ iṣẹ́ tèmi? And meanwhile, in the hierarchy of needs, I always like to say this, in the church, we cannot need ní church. Do you know that music comes before preaching?
Wow.
A jẹ́ márùn-ún bíbá ẹ̀. Tá bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kọrin àdúrà sí ibi di church nìyẹn. A ní láti ka sáàmù kankan. A ní láti ka Bible, ó di church nìyẹn. Now, why so jẹ́ pé music lè máa step down? Now, a ti ní on Pana Passport, they can hold a service with music overnight. Like this guy that plays trumpet.
Nathaniel
Bassey. Àbí ṣó gbé Bible lọ́wọ́. Ṣé wọ́n ní deliverance o?
Music.
So, in the hierarchy of needs.
Your own...
my church.
Your own... no. I was going to even cite somebody like Ṣẹ́gun Olúwayọ̀mí, for example. Who uses his music for praise and worship.
There's a lady now who's in Ibadan, Damola Adesina, who recites poetry. Poetry is music. He's a doctor now. I think he's around you, like my friend Damola. He will recite Oríkì Jésù láti ó lè ṣe for a night. And deliverance á máa ṣẹlẹ̀. Everything á máa ṣẹlẹ̀. Kò gbé Bible lọ́wọ́ náà.
So poetry is music.
Poetry is music. Poetry is music now because it can be noted. It's melodic. So nígbà tí hierarchy of needs báyìí even in a 2-hour service how many la fi ń ka Bible music ló ń dominate ó ṣe wá jẹ́ yẹn ni ò ní gbowó. So it's actually a means to rob them of inkajo because like I say it priest tó bá mọ̀ wọ́n sanwó fún wọ́n sanwó fún musician gidi. There's an orchestra coming up in Lagos and I don't want to mention his name. I mean I can mention his name. Chris Oekilome. He has an orchestra building and tó play violin owó gidi ló sọ fún. Papa Olukoya pays for music. Okay. He, as I speak to you now, there's every year a choral of 40-50 people. One wà embassy sorry. They go for world choir games. No, I don't even want to say choir. Do you know that Fuji, Apala, he promotes Apala, even high life. And he pays them, he makes them happy because he knows that this is the thing that will live in the church. I want to value music. So I want you to want sanwó fún music. I want you to value music. If you value music, if you know what music does, and you get the right person to do it, you will pay. Voluntarily, you will pay. Do you know how much Anglican Church spend on buying an organ? O wa ra organ tán. O sanwó fẹ́ tó máa play. O wa sọ pé ṣe Ọlọ́run. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. Iṣẹ́ kí làlùfáà ṣe. I once attended, when I was very small as a teen, I once attended an interview, first from the university. One on Waga, nínú Èkó, I've forgotten the name of the church. I was a very small boy, and you know, I play piano in common play. In fact, me law university, me dem pe share me one play piano, no man play university. Only kan fi interview yẹn sí 4. So mi ti dé be 2. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní piano, mo ti wá play piano. So already they made up their mind. Àwa bí mẹ́rin ló wà. Mo ṣe bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ interview tó pè mí, èmi náà mo kọ́kọ́ pè. Wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ skills mi, wọ́n kàn ní agi ṣe church mi Anglican kini aṣáájọ sọ. Kí ni mo fẹ́ gbà? I think I told them about 20,000 naira. And mi ò fi ẹmọ kékeré ni mí now. The only into dìjà ni pé èèyàn bàbá kankan sọ mẹ́ nígbà gbà tó bá gba 20,000 naira kí làlùfáà fẹ́ gbà. Mo ní kálùfáà lọ tẹ́. Mo dẹ̀ gbéwé mi, mo dìde wọ́n pè mí tì. Because it's annoying. It's annoying. I'm a graduate of music. I've committed, Laugawa Uzogo, before you can be a graduate of any instrument, you must have committed a minimum of 8 hours every day. Yeah.
Of practice.
To master that instrument. Because his performance was ensemble for like 2 hours. My performance on the piano was playing piano continuously for like 30 minutes, non-stop. Timba stop, mo komo minimum to continue. Àlùfáà, due respect to them, àlùfáà lè jẹ́ after kini o náà lọ.
Theology school.
Wọ́n bẹ̀ mí tì lọ́jọ́ yẹn. Àmì pọ́nmọ́ kékeré mo kí àlùfáà náà lọ tẹ̀ mo dẹ̀ gbéwèé orin mi mo gbé sábì kò lé tó yẹn. Get down. So in short, musicians should be paid. But ìwọ gan fúnra man, because another thing ni pé kó mọ art yẹn fúnra ẹ̀. You must understand what tó bá sure ara you will be paid. Because what I see in most cases is ìtàn sọ́lá náà lọ́fíìsì ni pé there's even a new practice. Ìwọ ló ń tẹ church yẹn, ìwọ ló ń tẹ piano in church àbí tó ọjọ́ tó bá ní special program wọ́n wá invite another person wá wọ́n wá fún lówó wọ́n ní fún wọn lówó
tó wà mẹ́rin gbogbo gbà torí pé jọmọ church.
That means any value music. I'm telling you.
I even had one recently. Yes. Somebody was posted away from a church. He had been in charge of that church. He has his group of musicians across all vocal and instrumental structure. Then the person that came to replace him disbanded the band. And then while those ones were wondering, okay, if you are still interested, come and audition.
Go audition,
brother. And one of them who auditioned was told to, I think the old language like Obaleta retirement. That means the person is no more. So because I'm just looking at kí ni nǹkan tí the previous priest tí ó tí ó ní pẹ̀lú band tó wà nílẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ tí ẹni tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ dé nísìn tó wá fẹ́ pé band yẹn ò dá mọ́.
dààmú.
Apparently wọ́n ní ẹni yẹn ní àwọn èèyàn tiẹ̀ tóun náà fẹ́ kó wá.
Those are intrigues. You understand? Those are a lot of intrigues. But more importantly ni pé kó kọ́kọ́ mọ iṣẹ́ tó fẹ́ ṣe o.
Very important.
You understand? Because tó o bá mọ̀ ni wọ́n á máa dáyà já ẹ̀. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, àìmọye tí o jẹ́ ń play in church to earn from church. That's another thing. I don't need to earn from church. You can call me to write an anthem for you. You can call me, I mean, not me particularly. You can call scholars and say, sorry, I want to retrain my choir. Because iṣẹ́ wa pẹ̀lú even recruitment. I can recruit for you, set up your day. Ṣé ẹ ní sanwó fún mi? When I say the next 3 months, this is his target. So what is one is that let us know what we are doing. Look, professionalism. I
think what you have said now has touched on the general application of music and management.
Yes. Ẹ wo late barrister. Ṣé bọ́lọ́pàá ni wà ní? Sójà. Nígbà tí ó fẹ́ di professional, ṣé kò fi sójà lẹ̀? So ó wá rí ó fi orin ti kúrò ní eré tí mo bọ́ ó ti di iṣẹ́. Ó ti kúrò ní eré ó ti di iṣẹ́. Ògúndé ńkọ́? Ògúndé was ọlọ́pàá.
Yeah, was a police.
Nígbà tó ń fi ṣeré tako. So we must professionalize what we are doing. That's what is lacking in this place. In Nigeria, in Africa, we seem not to understand that this is a big fortune on our own. We must professionalize, and that is why it goes a lot of things. Even it goes to management. Let us
look at the issue of music management, especially as it affects our performing
band boys.
At what point does a musician or a band leader or a band owner require someone to be in charge of his management?
From the very beginning, when you are conceiving the idea of having a band, it is advisable you grow with a manager who knows what he's doing.
Can you prerequisites for someone who wants to be a band manager along that line?
Yes.
From the professional.
Sherry, most of the people we call band manager here are just errand boys. Mo ní band, àbúrò mi náà bá wa worry, ọ̀yá lọ ra oúnjẹ wa. No, it takes more than that. Now, let me say something. Only band. The first thing is even register the band. Because Bayo Ogunyemi, ó yàtọ̀ sí Bayo and Ekiniko. Register the band. One. To jẹ́ pé ó ti di, because when you have a registered company, it's a legal entity on its own. You can use it to borrow money. You can use it to do a lot of things. So when you do that, look for somebody who has the knowledge of management. Only must study music, but it's an advantage to study music. It's an added advantage who begin to guide you. Okay, irú orin wo ló fẹ́ kọ. Now, ọjọ́ tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ yẹn, o ti gbọ́dọ̀ pé compile your list of friends, your circle. Is it your church? Because you have to launch from somewhere. It becomes lo ti máa lọ. Ẹni ẹ ló máa package kìíní yẹn. Ló máa package kìíní yẹn. Ló máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní advice. Ló máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní sọ bó ṣe lè raise owó. It's not just an errand boy. Okay, bá ṣe lè raise owó, bá ṣe lè raise. And if it's somebody that is grounded in music, he begins to even look at you and advise you on what to say. Because for instance, ó ti study ó ti mọ̀ pé ohun ẹ̀ máa há ní time kan. Then you have to find solution to that. Then ó wo band yẹn títí tó ń ká band yìí mi like bọ̀bọ̀ auto yìí. Iṣẹ́ ẹ̀ ní láti find a replacement. Òun ló máa wá studio tó máa. You see, it's a very bogus thing.
From band management.
Even management itself.
At this juncture, let me share a personal experience with you. I was rounding off my youth service in Kaduna, and then I saw an advertorial in The Guardian. I applied. The position was, I think, music manager. I think that was the title. So I applied. By the time I got back to Lagos, my letter of invitation came for interview. As at that time, I didn't know who was involved. It was when I got to the venue of the interview that I realized that I was going to talk one-on-one with late Dr. Becker and some Kuti. And so we had that first interview
With him.
with him. One of the first questions he asked me was, do you know who you are going to manage? I said, now that I'm seeing you, sir, I'm beginning
You're
to
having
have
an idea.
As at that time, Fela was in jail. But Dr. Becker, he was always involved in Fela's music career. So he was trying to organize
The band while he was
the band
away.
while he was away and to prepare his return. That was 1986, by the way. So after the first round of interviews, even before, during the first round, he said, you are a Muslim. I said, yes, sir. Now, how do you look at being a manager to Fela? I said it would be a privilege for me. That Fela was someone that I really followed right from my young age, and that was true. One of the first songs that registered with me, that's, bode well with me was Jenkoku and John. So, I said, the fact that I even studied music and Fela, I knew Fela to be a fantastic musician, somebody who had a better training than I have had, that it would be a privilege to learn from him. He said, but you are a Muslim. I said, yes, sir. I said, okay. I passed the first set. I wasn't the only one. Those of us that they felt were employable were now asked to visit the old shrine at Purple Street.
Computer Village.
When I visited the shrine, it was my first time being there. Mo rí tí wọ́n lé àwọn kinní yìí níbi gbẹ. So the long and short of it, nígbà tí mo délé níjọ́ yẹn, wọ́n kàn ní ká kàn ṣáà lọ. So we had an appointment to come back. By the time tẹ́mi délé níjọ́ yẹn, mo gbé malaria ní straight. Kò easy. So I was now determined that Fela is bigger than what I saw at the shrine. That means people like me who are more influential, more the gentlemen in quotes, they will want to watch Fela perform any day, anytime. But what I saw at Old Shrine will never endear those people to go there. And during my own time as Fela's manager, is going to have people like that and more to come to the shrine. So the appointed time came. I was face to face with Dr. Becker again. Now said, after visiting the shrine, what are my observations? How do I want to improve Fela's music and all that? I said, number one, sir, I must stop. I want to tagbo. I said, number one, I must stop. Igbo títà níbẹ̀ yẹn. Ṣé mo pé nǹkan tẹ́mi mọ̀ about Fela was on the outside.
Yeah, that's Fela music, Fela
I didn't know Fela in the inside. And I felt, and I was right in my own way, that a lot of more, noble people will not mind coming to see Fela. Tí wọ́n bá rí pé atmosphere around him are conducive. Okay? Dr. Becker said, okay. Because I gave him my reasons. And I studied music. I can be of more value if he has somebody like me around him. I know I can add a lot of value to
his
music. He agreed. But what he did not tell me that he did not agree to was that we were going to do it with Igbo. And that was why I did not become.
It's obvious, huh? You can't get that job now.
So I wasn't given the job, but that was how close I was
to because you studied music.
And I knew I was so fired up. I really wanted to work my ass out to make sure that I knew Fela was already big. I wanted to give a different Fela to the world that in my own fantasy, just to buttress the point about you must
mo
know.
ní question kan
Go ahead.
nípa story yẹn mi ìgbọ́ story yẹn lẹ́nu yín rí.
Oh, wonderful.
Mo bá yàn kan sọ̀rọ̀ ọjọ́ kan ẹni yẹn sọ pé lifestyle Fẹlá wípé ó assist brand ẹ̀ ó jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn wò bí radicalism yẹn gangan ló tà. Tí wọ́n bá detach igbó yẹn kúrò ṣé Fẹlá ò ní jẹ́ Fẹlá mọ́ ni?
You see, for me personally, I felt Fela will still do much better without. I'm not talking about his personal life. I'm talking about his brand. Because iṣẹ́ tèmi pẹ̀lú nǹkan tèmi ti study ni pé to elevate his performance beyond that pedestrian
And his status.
crowd and his status.
So that àwọn èèyàn tí àwọn èèyàn tó ń fẹ́ identify pẹ̀lú igbó, they
that
can
rough
come
life,
to
they
the
can-
shrine freely and
Exactly. That was my own vision. But like you have rightly asked, Fela will detach his personal life from his professional music practice.
Yes, that's what we call Fela sociology. There's Fela the artist. There's Fela the sociology. The question we should ask ourselves is that, you see, Fela is a very intelligent, or was a very intelligent person. He studied music. He did not just only study music, he studied the sociology of his people. Let's look at the trajectory of his growth. He left Nigeria to go and study music. He came back, he was studying, he came back with jazz orientation. He didn't succeed. He went back briefly again. He came back, he joined High Life Band. He started playing High Life. By the time he was coming back again, he just showed up with the Afrobeat. That means that at that point, who is this guy? He studied the people and he gave us what we want. Perhaps if Fela were to be alive today, that kind of music may not say, because that was the time we were changing from colonial mentality to African mentality.
Yes.
And he found a music. So separating Fela's music from Fela's sociology, it would have been an impossible thing.
Quite impossible.
So that is the identity.
Quite impossible.
Revolutionary. Revolutionary literally, but the music was also revolutionary.
Exactly.
The music was Intagbori. So I believe, and you know, he writes his music. I still want to. I was telling Alhaji while we were sitting, I said, "Come, yẹ ká ti ní institute that in study Fela, because mo believe pé Fela ní ìwé kan tó ń kọ kíní ẹ̀sìn." He didn't do those things spontaneously.
He might have lost them during the
but he didn't. You see, Fela carefully organized his art.
He was the most organized musician.
Most organized. So ó mọ tó ń ṣe, ó wò ó nígbà tó kọ́kọ́ wá, ó ń play jazz, ó ń play pẹ̀lú àwọn Frank Kuboye, àwọn cousins ẹ̀. Gbà tó padà wá, ó gbé High Life. Gbà tó máa padà wá tó fi lọ bá Mike Davis, ó fi ṣe kíní ẹ̀ tó máa padà wá báyìí. Kò jọ nǹkan kan. He just gave us what is fitting for us. And you understand, because he grew up on the streets of Abeokuta, you understand the power of the audience. And the question that might be around ni pé tó bá lọ ṣe 9 jams yẹn, igbó mélòó ló mú kílẹ̀ tó mú? Àgbè lọ́wọ́. But that's the mentality.
So kò ń ṣe pé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ló ṣe ń fà á tó.
No, I don't think so. I was a journalist when Fela was alive. He's on, he does kò rí Fela pé bàjẹ́.
Sorry, his desire to be the mouthpiece of the masses.
Yes.
Nǹkan tó jẹ́ kó kí lifestyle ẹ̀ rí.
And we needed a mouthpiece. Kò sí democracy in mind. The only people, we needed a mouthpiece. So he came, he just got fixed it.
So ẹni pé tó bá yẹ Fela wà life now.
Yes. Ṣé orin
Someone introduce that same song. Ṣé máa jẹ́?
No, because sociology wa ti change.
Nǹkan ti change.
Sociology wa ti change.
Technology gan ti change.
But he was a smart man. He saw that thing and he got it. And look at his music movement of the people. Like,
And that was even the name of his party.
Yes, yes, and it was like march. And ìgbà yẹn ni agitation, military must go, everything must go. Ìgbà yẹn ló ń bẹ̀rẹ̀. Because we were coming from ayé àwọn Boniem òyìnbó ló ń fún wa lórí ìgbà yẹn. It came after. So the scholarship in Fela is even more important to me than even his music. Báwo ló ṣe arrive at those things? He must have sat down and said, this is what I want to do. Ìgbà tó ń kọjá ń kókú yẹn ó ṣì ń try ilẹ̀ onídòdò ó ń try ilẹ̀ but by the time he came he got it.
In my review of some of his songs, just like you said, his first set of songs were quite jazzy, harsh. Even his high life wasn't.
It wasn't the high life.
Wasn't the regular
Bobby,
high life.
was jazz high life.
It wasn't the regular high life. And then somewhere in the middle, he went folk.
Yes.
When he went folk was when he did ẹ bá wa kọrin ìbílẹ̀ wa o, ẹ bá wa kọrin ìbílẹ̀ wa o, ẹ bá wa kọrin ìbílẹ̀ wa o, tó fi wá kọ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ń gbọ́ gbàgádá. Would you have expected a fella to sing bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ń gbọ́ gbàgádá? That was the journey towards what later became Afrobeat. Kó tó di pé jẹun kó kú àti àlùjọ̀njọ̀ kíjọ káwọn yẹn wá cement ẹ̀ finally. And then you can begin to see too that jẹun kó kú àlùjọ̀njọ̀ kíjọ, they were majorly in Yoruba spiced with pidgin. The more he felt that he needed to get the attention of more people, the real reason why he now switched completely to pidgin. Àwa Yorùbá tá ti ń bá Fẹlá bọ̀, when he became a pidgin, I think he left us during the Napoi time yẹn ló ti kúrò, ó ti fi àwa Yorùbá lẹ̀.
Tẹ́ ẹ bá
ti lọ sí lady.
That's around 75 àbí.
Very point. Báyẹn ló ti ń transit.
Before then.
Yes, ló ti ń transit.
For them, ló ti ń transit.
And then they sọ fún mi pé ó ṣe kíní yẹn unconsciously. It was a conscious
deliberate.
Then kó jókòó.
It was deliberate.
So it was smart.
Yeah, it was very smart.
Very smart. Mo ti gain attention àwọn Yorùbá. Now I want to gain attention
of
Africans. And I'm not going to speak Queen's English. I'm going to communicate as an African.
In the language
so
of my
that
people.
Even the white man will now learn to understand what I am saying.
So Nigerian artists wo la le fi street smartness way. Maybe not necessarily insane, but even gone from that time. To jẹ́ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ni náà ẹni ẹlẹ́mọ̀ má jẹ́ radical o, but bẹ́ẹ̀ni ẹ ṣe ń ronú musically is noteworthy. Maybe Barrister.
I think Sonny Okosons will come to mind. Yeah.
That's true.
He will come to mind.
That's true.
Because when he started his music career with Sir Dr. Victor Uwaifo, it was the kind of things that Uwaifo was playing that he himself was playing. But with being conscious of Fela's activities actually helped Sonny Okosons to chart a new course for himself when he became a Pan-Africanist.
Okay.
And then we begin to listen to
Fire Isueto.
Ozidi Berenstein.
Ozidi Berenstein. Yeah,
so
I think
Sonny Okosons did well to follow him.
To follow that.
That was at the height of Sonny Okosons. He even challenged Fela. They can't want to compete. I'm better. Short of saying I'm better, I want to compete with you. And Fela was laughing. That controversy was there in the 80s, you know. So I think in terms of that, I think Fela, Sonny
Okosun, yes, he can, because by the time, because he was also very sensitive to the social environment. Yes. Very, very sensitive. Yes. He does not just, he wasn't singing just for like that.
But even at some point, even after identifying as an evangelist, he still went out of his own way to identify with Muslims.
Yeah.
In one or two of his songs, because of his friend, Abiola. That was when he did La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasul. He was already an evangelist when he did that.
You can't run.
Yes, you can't run. But I have to. You know, you have to link your audience. Orientation bank call. The audience and that is we Africans, because there's a thin, almost non-existing line between the performer and the audience in Africa. Your audience has to say a lot of things about you.
Because Gotsi Moshe mentioned maybe Barrister Lekon.
Yeah.
He looked around and saw that one shade that Fela. Why not let's pick something from? And we had lots of people.
Started following him. Because Juju was
till he died.
was challenged.
Barrister did well. See, anytime we talk about Fuji music, for example, we cannot even start without mentioning Barrister.
Impossible.
We can't start. I didn't say we can't end it. We cannot start without mentioning Barrister. He did well because, you see, in spite of the controversy about creation or no creation, which we have also, dealt with several times on this program, one thing that I keep saying that nobody is going to deny Barrister is the definition of Fuji. He defined it. When he defined it, it didn't come on a platter of gold. It came on a platter of controversy. Láàárín àwọn àti ọ̀rẹ́ wọn, General Kollington Ayinla. Because people need to understand that Barrister Okandede sọ pé Fuji is a combination of music consisting of juju, afro, sakara, and apala, possibly gudugudu, high life, nǹkan. Nígbà tí controversy wà láàrin àwọn àti General Kollington Ayinla nípa pé wọ́n ń ta síra wọn, Barrister ti kọ àwọn orin kan tí wọ́n mú elements of juju, elements of afrobeat. If you wanna now your thought be that, So, whereas General Kollington sọ pé kákọrin òbé pẹ̀lú Sànnípọ̀ o, kákọrin àká pẹ̀lú Yusufu, akọ́lá wọlé mọ̀ orin wọn ò yàtọ̀ sí gbé kinní kan. Kollington was trying to say that pé ní nǹkan táwa ń pè ní Fuji ó ní scope.
Ó ní scope. Well defined scope.
Ó ní scope. Gbogbo ara mọ̀ pé orin wéré là ń kọ. So bá a ṣe ń kọ wéré yẹn ló yẹ ká máa improve lé lórí. But Barrister saw beyond bá a ṣe ń kọ wéré tó di Fuji. He saw mo lè fi styles àwọn tó kù yìí mo lè infuse ẹ̀ sínú nǹkan tá à ń kọ tí mo máa fi jẹ àwọn followers wọn, àwọn fans wọn, which actually was what led to the definition of Fuji as consisting of virtually all other genres. So whatever genre tó bá mọ̀ ọ̀kan tó bá ti lè fi ohun Fuji kọ, ó ti play Fuji. Okay? So in defining Fuji that way, he was able to give any Fuji musician the opportunity to explore.
Go anywhere.
And that's why, and you cannot fault that definition as of today. Ìyẹn mo sọ pé tí a bá fún Barrister ní anything, a gbọ́dọ̀ fún ní Fuji definitor. I hope the grammar is correct. But I'm just saying that he defined Fuji.
Clearly.
In recent times, Oshupa also has added to the definition of Fuji when he went in the culinary way, using different food and consumable items to define Fuji. Wọ́n pè nǹkan kan ní jambalaya, àwọn lóúnjẹ náà nìyẹn náà. Ó pè Fuji cocktail, cocktail ní Fuji music, where you combine different type of drinks. Kíní kan ní Fuji, he used food, to describe Fuji music. But the original definition of Fuji music was given by Barrister, and it paid off. But most of the things what I fẹ́ fún wọn sìn pé okay tá bá wò pé àwọn nǹkan tí Fẹlá ṣe yẹn, most of those things Fẹlá style náà ni Barrister fi achieve. One of his most popular albums is Fuji Garbage 2. Fuji Garbage 2 was Afrobeat, even from Fuji Garbage 1.
Fẹlá did Afrobeat, Barrister ṣe Fuji.
Yes.
Kí ni Sunny Okosun ṣe?
Ozidi King.
Music. High life pẹ̀lú kí.
High life and Edo and Afro.
High life now. High life Edo yàtọ̀, high life Igbo yàtọ̀.
Peter wọn Dr. Waifo yẹn.
Yes, that was his master. That was the man who.
Tí àwọn Ọ̀sàdébé tún yàtọ̀.
Igbo
náà. Ti East yàtọ̀.
I think let's give Sunny Okosun's another flower. he also used a lot of Caribbean influence.
Then Lagos ló ń
Production.
gbé.
Okay.
So Ali rule out influence.
Yeah.
But I
So,
think he was a fantastic composer.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, he did well.
Before we leave this Fuji thing, you see, another thing tí àwọn tèmi rí tí Barrister particularly tó ṣe ni pé, you know, before Barrister came online, every band leader ló máa ń play instrument, ló gbúdọ̀ gbé instrument kan lọ́wọ́.
Yes.
It will have confined African music into the dungeon of Western orientation if we had continued that way. Because juju, highlife, gbogbo ohun tí a mọ̀ ń gbà yẹn ni pé you must stand like this. Àwọn manager IK Daro òun náà gbé kinní kan.
But accordion.
Barrister pẹ̀lú àwọn tó jáde pé regardless of this, and you couldn't have done that tó o bá ṣú ara ẹ̀. Regardless, he came out and he stood and he sang.
But the tradition that he met was in the region of Apala.
Yes. But ṣé àwọn báwọn Àpàlà ti ń lọ, àwọn olórí resuscitate ẹ̀ náà. Àwọn Àpàlà àwọn juju àlàfo ti ń confine wọn. Ẹ mọ̀ pé Fuji almost push juju to the back.
Yeah.
Let me just be moderate.
Yeah.
Because ó dé boldly kò regard and that was until Shina wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó wá gbé guitar. What we know gbogbo gbàtà wa gbogbo 90 kò gbúdọ̀ gbé guitar kan lọ́wọ́.
Shina gan ò gbé guitar.
No, tó gbé guitar lẹ̀. Òun ló wá gbé guitar lẹ̀.
Ó gbé later gan náà.
Ọ̀nà later ló wá gbé guitar lẹ̀ tó wá lóun free. So I gbúdọ̀ give Barrister for that bolding.
But you see, there is still we need to get some things right. Yeah. In where Barrister was coming from, which was Were, there was no need for any Were singer.
Yeah, to do that.
Hold a musical.
But if he had not been a man of his own, somebody would have vero pé kó lọ copy àwọn ilé. Ṣé understand tí mo sọ?
Mi ti délẹ̀.
Okay.
There was no need as a
Were singer
to
do that.
Despite the fact that some of them didn't play recorder. Barrister himself played mouth organ. But ṣé mọ̀ pé little náà ni contribution àwọn instrument yẹn sí
instrument gan the total
musical performance. Yes. So there was nothing really, since you there was no need to learn to play the guitar before you sing Were or sing Fuji. There was no need to learn to play even the recorder and the mouth organ that we were talking about. Yes. They were just to spice
things. They don't have a role, a very cogent role.
Then àwọn tí wọ́n wò ń wájú, àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ mentors fún àwọn Barrister. Apart from the Obey era, when he became the Fuji artist that we knew him to be, àwọn Baba Yusuf Olatunji. Because you know Barrister played Sakara for many years. He played Sakara. That's why I pé wéré ni wọ́n ti ń bọ̀. Now, a mọ̀ pé ní oní Sakara, àwọn tí wọ́n lead Sakara, ó pọn dandan kó o lè play Goje tá a bá fẹ́ rí ẹ as a bona fide leader.
But Esaka ò play, ṣé Esaka play?
Bàbá wa ìdí.
Kí làwọn play?
Bọ̀ pé mo lo bàbá Esaka pé kì í ṣe tilẹ̀. He played Goje too. Yeah, he played Goje too. He played
Goje. Àwọn kan play this Lamelafo. Agidigbo.
Gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ni wọ́n mọ̀.
Gbogbo ọ̀nà máa gbé.
So, but when Barrister was playing Sakara, he didn't play Goje. Nǹkan tó differentiate Sakara Barrister from Sakara
àwọn tó kù
tó bá ń wájú nìyẹn. But for me, I will call that era his journey in wilderness. When he was trying to
define himself.
He had this restless mind. Having first recorded an Ajisari single. One kọ́kọ́ record Ajisari single. And then over the years, he now switched to Sakara music. But he wasn't playing Goje. And much later, when the final clarity came to him, he named his music Fuji. Because gbogbo early 70s, Fuji. I think we traced it to up to 1973. those songs were Sakara songs. And the Sakara group.
I have 2 questions. SARS. My share questions méjì láàrin yẹn máa pín. Màá fún yín kan, màá fún yín kan. Ẹ̀yin lẹ máa kọ́kọ́ down. Àwọn náà máa down after.
Okay.
Questions yín sir ni pé, is it right for anybody to say that a particular band or a particular artist is the best musician? But she ní àwọn gifted. Questions yín sir ni pé, ṣé a lè sọ wípé most of our Fuji artists they are singers and not musicians because they don't play instruments. Ẹ̀yin lè máa kọ down. Àbí kí wọ́n kọ́ lọ.
Let me address this one because I will still want to contribute to whatever.
No, only contribute to you know.
Now, nǹkan tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa ò mọ̀ ni pé àmọ́ background some of the Fuji musicians. So we cannot take it on the face value and dismiss all of them, okay? Since we recognize them as singers, okay? They are not musicians.
But èmi rò pé nǹkan tó máa ń lò tán rí music kan náà la máa fi conclude.
That's why I said we didn't know the background of some of them. For example, did you know that Pasuma was a fantastic Sakara drummer?
Yeah, àti gbọ́.
Ẹ ti gbọ́. Tí wọ́n bá rí Délé Táíwò tó ń kọrin, I'm even taking us outside
Fuji.
Tí wọ́n bá rí Délé Táíwò tó ń kọrin, rí gìtá lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀, right? Ó dẹ̀ kọrin jùjú yẹn, ó dẹ̀ wà okay. Tí ò bá lọ padà gbé gángan, kó lọ tag pẹ̀lú ẹni tó jẹ́ gángan drummer, ṣé ẹ lè mọ̀ pé ó mọ gángan lò? We will be wrong to classify a Pasuma or a Dele Taiwo as just being ordinary singers. And that will go for any of them that can do any of those things. It would be wrong of us to say that they are just ordinary singers. That's my position.
Let me quickly add. When I was defining music, I like dictionary meaning. So, Catholic move forward. Are we African? Have we agreed to take that dictionary meaning as our own meaning of music?
Okay.
Do you understand? Because Moti Sok no be by the word music is even strange to us. Do you understand? So, èmi ò rò pé ó yẹ ká make dictionary meaning pé tó bá lè play instrument ni musician. So because àti ẹ̀rí musician.
Àwọn náà ní kì í ṣe àwa la ní definition.
Yes, so tiwa eléré. Ẹ jẹ́ ká come back to our own ìgbàgbé musician. Eléré, who is eléré? Eléré a lè kọrin, ó lè jó, ó lè lùlù, ó lè tàkìtì, ó lè ṣẹ̀fẹ̀. You know the definition in African musicology is a constellation of all arts. You must be able. So, for us to say torí pé èèyàn kan ò lè kọrin, that means we are still subjecting ourselves to the definition of the whites. So, and òun là ń try láti bọ́, báwo làwa ṣe rí ẹni tó ń ṣe eré?
See, how many people have seen General Collins Ayinde play any instrument? Did you know that he was playing instrument in the army?
Yeah.
A lot of things.
So if he's not playing
pass
instrument
through.
now, does it mean that he doesn't know how to play?
We cannot, you see, we must be very careful. Ká fún definition tiwa, ta ni eléré, ẹ má pè ní musician. Because music itself kò appear nínú
ní one word.
So, tá bá fẹ́ lo ọ̀rọ̀ kan,
yes.
tá bá fẹ́ drop who is a musician,
Yes.
a fẹ́ lo eléré.
Eléré.
Kí ni òyìnbó eléré?
Entertainer.
Entertainer. So we have entertainers.
Yes. Who can keep you? That is that. But because before
Can
you don't
engage
go
you.
you can engage you. Ẹlòmíì lọ wo. Ẹlòmíì á like máa ń tẹ dárúkọ tó wà ń bàdàn Òṣùpá. Wọ́n kì í ṣe torí ìlú, kì í ṣe torí ijó, wọn ló wà witty, ọ̀rọ̀ gidi ń jáde lẹ́nu ẹ̀. Ìtàn bá lọ nìyẹn o.
Bí èèyàn tó wà poetic.
Yes, ó wà poetic tó ń sọ ìjìnlẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀. Ẹlòmíì torí kí ló ṣe ń tẹ̀lé sàn ní a ló ń jó. But yẹn pé ijó sí pẹ̀lú definition music tó yìnbó kọ. Ẹlòmíì á ní òbé. Ẹlòmíì torí falsetto barista lẹ́lòmíì ṣe gbìyànjú pé akọrin lọ òkè akọrin lọlẹ̀. So, and those are the things that make up our own music, our own art. And that is because when you call play instrument, that is the Oyinbo's definition. I have our own definition. Because some of these people, they've gone through processes Sonny Konga nìkan náà ni wà lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tó ń wọ́n lè lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. So I will say, and it's even an arranger. Etí baba.
Ẹni tó bá létí ni arranger.
Yes.
Oh, létí ò lè arrange nada.
Kí ló fẹ́ arrange. So because you see them, an average musician in quote is an embodiment of art.
Chavez sọ pé Elémùrè Ògùnyẹmí ò kì í ṣe entertainer.
Kí ni entertainer per se.
Because
the man that took kí lẹ ti máa ń pe orin Èkìtì because every time you back ní Adamu Akpiri, the man that took your Akpiri to infusing Western musical instruments at some point. Tó wá ń kọ bí bàtí èèyàn bá ń kọ jùjú àbí èèyàn ń kọ Fuji.
Àbí Mama Comfortomoge.
Ẹ wo Mama Comfortomoge.
Àwọn yẹn ṣe harmony. Ó láyé lọ sí school ẹ wọ́n harmony àwọn.
Harmony yẹn wá naturally.
It's natural.
Look, let's just sọ nǹkan kan fún yín tẹ́ bá gbọ́ choral. You see a lot of things. The Western dignity ṣe fún tẹ́ bá gbọ́ choral South Africa sí ẹ ní láti sọ pé South Africa lélẹ̀ because wọ́n maintain traditional harmony wọn. But òyìnbó dé bí báyìí ó ní ká gbé ti wálẹ̀ àwa gbé harmony onídòmísọ́. I don't know Domiso. I'm an Ekiti man.
Okay, so ti mama yẹn traditional harmony.
That's traditional harmony tí òyìnbó lè kọ.
Tó máa ń dùn gan.
Òyìnbó lè kọ. Òyìnbó dẹ̀ lè. You understand?
Nínú èbè orin tí mo fẹ́ràn jù láyé mi tó dùn mọ́ mi nínú jù láyé mi orin bàbá Elémùrè
Ògùnyẹmí. Màá máa kọ parallel.
Bá ti ń gbọ́ tó bá ń harmonize lẹ́yìn wọn. Wàá mọ̀ pé this is not the regular soprano.
Aike náà ni harmony tó.
Aike náà lọ harmony Ìjẹ̀ṣà.
Okay.
Because àdàwọn ló làdàmú. Ó dẹ̀ gbé wọ ó dẹ̀ maintain.
Harmony Ìjẹ̀ṣà ni ẹ.
Yes, that's it. So ngbà tí look àwọn òyìnbó ní rhythm nìkan lá ní because rhythm wọ òye wa. They say it téèyàn bá wà careful derogatorily but tẹ́ bá ẹrù pọ́n fi ń pọ́n wálé ni wọ́n á ní àní melody. Ṣé ti gbọ́ melody àwọn Ìlàjẹ? Títí dé melody Ìlàjẹ títí dé Badagry. Ẹ ti gbọ́ melody wọn rí.
That's another set of àwọn Ìlàjẹ.
Wọ́n gbọ́ máa ń kọrin báyìí wọ́n ní church wọn.
Tó gbọ́ Cliff Sama àwọn orin wọn oh my God èèyàn máa fọ́.
So to assess an African, you must look at embodiment. It's an embodiment of art. Òun gan fúnra ẹ̀ gan ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ because òun ni master, we call them a master musician. Òun ni master musician. So it is very great torí pé kò lè play one particular and that's a mistake.
Even some of these band leaders are the ones who arrange their songs.
Yes.
Àwọn náà máa sọ fún talking drummer gan pé nǹkan báyìí
ìfẹ́ kò lù báyìí tó bá dẹ̀ ṣí aṣọ fún ẹ.
Tí o bá wà capable you can't be dictating that.
Fẹ́ láti ẹ̀ máa kọ tiẹ̀. Gbogbo tó ń kan yẹn ni tó bá ní kò kọ.
When tó bá ti play anything outside awẹ adéyọwó.
A good band leader tí wọ́n bá kọ̀ọ̀kan púpọ̀ àbí wọ́n lùlùkulù lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ o gbọ́dọ̀ mọ bí tí direction ti kíní yẹn ti wá àdẹ̀ fún ní ojú.
So ṣe mọ̀ pé concept of band leader lọ́dọ̀ wa ó yàtọ̀ sí tiwọn.
Sorry even gan ṣebí mo sọ pé wàá wò ó wàá fún ní ojú nígbà yí àwọn Àyìnlá ìfọ́tí ni tó bá gbègbèkúgbè wàá jẹ́ fọ́tí.
Lọ́dọ̀ àwọn kan èpè ni.
Ó ti ń dàrú because ó ti tó nǹkan ẹ̀ wọ́n ti ṣe rehearsal.
So back to your question for him now. So that he can address that.
Okay. Come to address it. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ scholars, please keep writing about our music.
That's what I do.
So that tá ti ń ka nǹkan nípa wa.
Yes.
A mọ̀ pé àwọn Fuji, àwọn musicians wa tó ń play traditional music wa Fuji àti gbogbo ẹ̀. Wọ́n better tí wọ́n gan pàápàá.
Absolutely.
They are even better. Tẹ́ bá pè wọ́n musicians, àwa tún rate wọn ju musicians lọ ní they are general entertainers.
Embodiment. Yes. Embodiment.
Ẹ yẹ ká wo K1. Ẹ wo bí tí K1 tí wọ́n bá Fuji music dé ń sìn. It is hardly recognizable anymore. But one particular thing that he kept and that sustains the Fuji in his music is his intonation. No matter the level of sophistry of instrumentation tó wà lẹ́yìn wọn, ẹ rí pé when he belts out his vocals, you know, this is unmistakably Fuji.
Because Fuji ní melody, ó ní scale tiẹ̀, nasal kìíní yẹn.
Ó ní sequence, ó ní bó ṣe ń lọ.
Only skill set.
Yes, it's scale tier. That's why you see Fuji originated from Were. They really totally remove Fuji from Muslim tradition. That is why majority
That
of
is
them,
that Islamic influence.
Islamic influence, majority of them are Muslim because that Muslim tonality must be present. It must be present. They have their own tonation, they have their and which they must mention.
Ṣé níbi tí K1 tó ṣiṣẹ́ dancing ká sọ pé he is an ordinary singer.
No. A musician, you see, a key prison musician in Africa is somebody that embodies the art.
Abi Adewale Ayuba.
Àpàdéwálé Ayuba.
Lórí stage.
Àbí àwọn ọmọ tá a ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bí sí kan wá rí sàn ní tó ra ń jó lórí jẹ́ kan wá ní kò play
musical instruments.
Bàbá yẹn gan ló ń
Just a
jẹ́
singer.
fèrè fún wa. Àbí Fẹlá. You
Mm.
understand? So, but wọ́n fẹ́ define wa pẹ̀lú yẹn ni and that we scholar will now say, can we look at this and can we take this definition, can we generalize to our own thing? Now, going back to my own question, pé
Who is the best?
who is the best? The word best is very subjective.
Mm.
Very subjective. Ó dàbí ẹni tó bá fẹ́ define elephant tó bá fọwọ́ kan mẹ́wàá ní elephant yìí mà le o. Tó bá fọwọ́ kan etí wọn ní elephant yìí mà le. The word best, I don't think the word best has a place in the generality of art. Because a ti ń sọ náà látàárọ̀ nsìn. Mo lè lọ máa wo òṣùpá torí pé ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ó lè jẹ́ òun ṣe ń gbọ́ láràárọ̀. Now, mo lè play sàn nílé nítorí pé mo fẹ́ bú landlord mi. In tí mo fẹ́ mbẹ̀ ni mo ń lọ ẹ̀. So, this is the best. Are you saying is it the best guitarist? Then what is your yardstick? In academics, you don't generally in art. Because what is another thing? What is the best today? Is it going to be the best tomorrow? Some things are rejected today. It will be accepted tomorrow. So it's a very relative thing. Now, I know why they use it for commercial purposes. We can't read because commerce is part of art. But commerce should not be a yardstick for measuring the success of art. But it doesn't make your art good. No, it doesn't. So we can't use it. But now I can say, okay, this one,
My favorite.
my favorite is personal. In my own opinion.
It's personal.
It's personal. It's in my own opinion. Fine. And we are 5 here. That means we could have 5 best vocalists.
Absolutely.
Even in classical music, ẹlòmíà ní ẹni tó ń kọrin tí ohun ẹ̀ high jù ní best. Ẹlòmíà ní ẹni tó lè maneuver tí ohun ẹ̀ high, but ó lè lọ òkè lọ́ọ̀lẹ̀. Tó lè ẹ̀ ti gbà òun ni best here. So using the word best is just an
exaggerated,
subjective to your own opinion. It can be contested anywhere.
In fact, to buttress his point, when you pick up a piece of art or an artist and you tag that person the best, absolutely, we'll ask you at what? Because art, music especially, does not serve one purpose.
At all.
It serves more, it's a multi-purpose venture. And nobody can have it in all in one. You cannot be the one that is so philosophical and at the same time to be the most entertaining. So in every genre of music, there can be no single best.
At all.
In any genre of music, there can be no single best. What you are going to always have are personal favorites. Whoever you are a fan of is your best musician. That is your opinion. You are entitled to
Ronaldo àti Messi ni. I watch party every day.
Do you know that as far as I'm concerned, in football, that is just by the way, my best player ever, the greatest of all time, is still Errantes do Nascimento,
Pele.
Otherwise known as Pele. That is my choice.
I
love Messi, I love Ronaldo, I love Maradona, but the best of them was the king of football, Pele, and I have my reasons. Until all of them go and win the World Cup 3 times in 4 appearances. Àwọn eléyìí tí wọ́n lọ ní ẹ̀mẹ́fà yìí tí kan nu wọn ló jẹ́ pé ẹyọkan ṣe olóṣèlú yìí tó máa bóyá máa win ìkejì nísìn lẹ́ẹ̀mẹ́fà. They cannot even match him again. But it's still my own subjective opinion about
Very
who my
subjective.
best footballer is. So coming back to music, you cannot have all the characteristics of music in one person to enable that person become the best.
No.
Not in any genre, not across all genres. Even àwọn orin wọn tá à ń sọ pé this is the best of Barrister, this is the best of Wasiu.
The best yẹn ló wá jẹ best ọdún. Èyí tí wọ́n sọ pé kò dùn yẹn òun gan ni.
Sir, let me cite an example. I have a small daughter ó ti dàgbà díẹ̀ nsìn. We drove from Lagos to Ekiti. Àwọn ọmọ jẹ́nsìn yẹn ni. Èmi wa mọ́tò, ó jókòó lẹ́yìn mọ́tò, ó dẹ̀ fi earphone ẹ̀ sétí. Nǹkan kò pawápọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí orin àgbàlagbà lèmi ọmọdé lò. Mo bá ń play Fẹlá mi, òun náà ń play tiẹ̀ kò tiẹ̀ mọ̀. We drove from here to Ekiti. Nígbà tá à ń bọ̀, bóyá bí ọjọ́ kẹta, ó tún continue, ó kàn yọ kíní yẹn. Ó ní daddy, play that your music now. I was, kí ló dé? Kí ló kàn ẹ́? Mo ní which music? Ó ní that music that you were playing when you were going. Mo ní Fẹlá. Ó ní kò mọ̀. Ó ní that music. Mo wá gbé ó ní that music tán. You won't believe kò mọ̀ Fẹlá rí, kò rí Fẹlá rí, kò ní any contact pẹ̀lú Fẹlá, but ó fi kíní sétí, but Fẹlá rhythm speaks. Látọjọ́ yẹn.
Ó ti gbọ́, ti rí nǹkan kan nínú ẹ̀.
Òun gan ò lè explain nǹkan tó ń rí, but kíní yẹn speaks in neurons. Because music appreciation has to do with neuro. Inú ọpọlọ ló wà. So, and bí fingerprint ṣe wà náà ni ọpọlọ wa wà. Méjì ò lè jọra wọn. It's just like composition exam tá a máa ń ṣiṣẹ́ òun pé composition exam máa ń mú lọ lé ní. Wọ́n jíyàn o.
Kò ṣe é jíyàn o.
Because in tó wà nínú mi yàtọ̀ sí wọn. Exactly then bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni appreciation of music. Kí ló wà appeal sí mi tí mo fi ń gbọ́ sàn ni? Ó yàtọ̀ sí tó wà appeal sí tó fi ń gbọ́ òbí.
Àbí àwo Sànní kọ̀ọ̀kan, àwo òbí kọ̀ọ̀kan, àwo Barrister kọ̀ọ̀kan, àwo Kollington kọ̀ọ̀kan, Wasiu kọ̀ọ̀kan, Ayuba kọ̀ọ̀kan,
ó yàtọ̀ sí
Pasuma kọ̀ọ̀kan.
Àwọn gan tó bá fẹ́ sọ èyí tó tà jù náà máa ń sọ, and that's not it.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ìmí nostalgia ó máa tún jẹ́ kí èèyàn tún fẹ́ràn pé mo rántí pé nígbà tí rẹ́kọ̀dù jáde nǹkan bá ló ṣẹlẹ̀ ìyá lọ́ọ̀bẹ̀ díálì.
Ṣẹ̀tẹ̀rí properties to make a good music ó pọ̀. Ara ẹ̀ ní melody wà. Harmony.
Instrumentation,
Arrangement, delivery, philosophy, entertainment value, rhythm. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè kó tán nínú orin kan that will now make that orin to be the best.
Kí ló fẹ́ báwo ló fẹ́ ṣe?
Ṣé gbogbo orin Michael Jackson ló jẹ́ best?
No.
It's absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely. Bí mo ṣe like Michael Jackson tó, àwọn orin ẹ̀ kan wà tó mi kò tiẹ̀ sit down pẹ̀lú mi rárá.
Tí n bá sọ kí nìkan fún yín ẹ lè fi mi ṣe ẹ̀yẹ. Bí mo máa ń sọ pé kò sí ẹ̀yàn tó popular tó Michael Jackson láyé.
Yes.
To some extent.
He was popular in his own years.
But bó ṣe wà yẹn, apart from pé èmi ò.
Bro, I just said he was the greatest entertainer. I didn't
qualified
say he was the
greatest of all
musician,
the greatest entertainer because Michael Jackson was far more than his music alone. I saw a video of him and James Brown, where Michael, it was one of these awards, Michael went to present an award to James Brown, and in his tiny voice, he was saying, when I was growing up, this man was my idol. He still remains my idol till today. And both of them were dancing. You could see that the influence of Michael Jackson's dance steps were from James Brown. And James Brown was so gracious to say, put that hood back on him. That's the guy. That's the guy. It's the man. So you appreciate, you can always appreciate good people, good things, but even during the best days of Michael Jackson, he had a rival.
Prince.
It was fierce. It was, àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ lovers Prince were always forcing it down our throat that Prince was better than Michael.
But Michael was more popular.
But Michael was more popular.
But Prince now was not a bad singer.
He was
also a bad many followers. Many followers.
He was a colossus.
Many audience.
Ọ̀rọ̀ wọn fẹ́ dàbí Barrister àti Kollington.
Wọ́n bá ara wọn fa gan.
So each time it is not proper or appropriate for individuals to, force others to accept their own viewpoint about an artist or about a music.
Art is very personal.
Kò ṣe pin o.
Nǹkan tí mo drive at lẹ́ẹ̀kan pa Michael tí mo sọ. As popular as he was in his lifetime and as still is.
Yes.
Èmi ò gbọ́ òyìnbó. Gbogbo ohun tó ń sọ yẹn jẹ́jẹ́ máa ń pick. But tó bá sì di music video. Ibi tó sì mú àwa nìyẹn.
Now that's another
thing. So má sọ wípé orin Michael kan ló dáa jù. Video yẹn làwọn wò.
That's another thing. Ẹlòmíì video ló base assessment. Meanwhile, somebody like me now, if I want to assess your music, because video is visual.
It's another kinetuni.
It's audio at Lawaso. So it is strictly personal. Yeah. So somebody, one man look for commerce purpose. What I can't go. You see that even costume.
You know that it's not even so much about the artists themselves, but their fans.
Their fans.
It is the fans who want to force it on everybody.
Force it down the throat of anybody.
Artists were only the best. But that word best go easy láti define, in the real sense of it. You can be good, but to make you the best go easy.
Ó tiẹ̀ ní bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹlòmíì máa tó máa ń wo tẹ̀lé market wọ́n máa wò wọ́n máa sunkún èmi ò rí reason láti máa sunkún.
You see, one of the properties of music is emotional.
Emotional.
Kò appease emotion tèmi ni.
Yẹn Michael lẹ́yìn sọ àgbẹ̀.
Àwọn máa wò wọ́n máa sunkún.
Artist méjì kan ló wá ń pa ìwé ẹ̀kún. Méjì. Ẹ ti wọ́n.
Lucky Dube.
No. Baba Obe ni number 1.
Okay, then Lucky Dube.
Lucky Dube ni number 2.
Now another thing ni pé ó lè jẹ́ world say ló touch. Guitar. Ẹlòmíì ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ la máa ń
guitar Baba Obe. Then kí ni pitch bend sí Lucky Dube máa ń lò yẹn. Àwọn sọ pé ṣe ló ń sàmì ẹni pé wọ́n ló máa ń sunkún.
That is
sunkún o. Ó play music ni o.
You know I talk about Nero.
I always refer to Lucky Dube as akọrin bí ẹni sunkún.
Ó máa ń dàbí ìgbà tí wọ́n ta mí ní ọ̀fà nínú ọkàn.
Agúnbí kan bẹ̀. You see two people, just two of you. You have different perspectives.
Bí music ṣe máa ń bó ṣe máa ń rí lára nìyẹn. Artist abáre tó bá wà highly philosophical in his lyrics, it doesn't make him the best.
Because so many other things.
Another artist ó wà gifted with humor in his own lyrics and well endowed with rhythm. Àwọn kan wà tó yẹ pé their love for music is about vibe and rhythm.
Dr. Sheman wo Indian film. Sheman wo Indian film.
Mi ò wò mọ́ sí ọgbà àwọn kékeré.
Sheman wo Indian film kẹ́ máa sunkún.
Dáadáa.
Kẹ́ máa gbọ́ àwọn orin because àwọn yẹn tún ya wèrè lọ́tọ̀. Wọ́n máa play soundtrack fún yẹn máa kọrin yẹn lẹ́yìn máa sunkún.
Àyàn báwo ṣòlè nígbà tí Amitabh tó kú. Kódà ó fẹ́ lè máa mú mi wá sójú ìwà.
So ṣe ẹni tí yẹn bá wọ emotional. Kò sí bí o ṣe ní.
And emotion is personal.
Yeah.
And music deals with emotion.
Ṣẹlẹ̀ yà pé kí wèrè ń ṣe ẹni ń sì ń sunkún.
Ó yàrá pé
ń sì ń sunkún sọ̀rọ̀ pé ńgbà ìyá ọmọ ẹ̀ ń bọ̀ lọ sí ọmọ ẹ̀ ọlọ́mọ ọmọ yẹn sí ọmọ bí. Gbọ́n ọmọ nǹkan
tí. O ti rí àwọn tí wọ́n lè wo horror film.
Tí wọ́n máa daṣọ bó.
Later ni mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wò. Mo wá rí pé ó máa ń dùn.
Àti ẹ̀ sọ okay tá a bá sọ ẹ̀ àwọn tó jẹ́ pé some people are gifted in music. They are also musicians. They are composers, but they have bad voice. But when you compose, when you sing it, you are okay.
Yeah.
So where do we? I don't know. Want to see any limelight?
One day they compose.
I have a student. Well, that's what he does. I somebody compose. I also read online. One day I low way. Ẹni kò kọ, ó dẹ̀ ń gbowó. Ẹni kò kọ kò lè kọrin.
Ṣó yẹ kó máa gbowó ni.
Ọ̀fẹ́
ló yẹ kó máa fáwọn.
For his composition. Ọ̀fẹ́ ní gbowó.
No, but Aláyé ló sọ fún mi pé ẹni tọ́nà bá ti fún pé yẹ kó kàn máa fáwọn èèyàn
lórí.
But mo fi pé bọ̀dà Aláyé kàn sọ yẹn.
That reminds me. Let me send you to bọ̀dà Aláyé.
No, any number.
I'm saying it.
Ẹ sọ́kàn gbọ́ wáyé.
Orin tí wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n fẹ́ fi jẹ́ kí Fuji yàtọ̀ yẹn gbogbo wa la ṣì ń retí àti retí láti last year. Àjọ Sunday ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Aláyé ẹjọ́ We need that song. Ẹgbẹ́ wa sábàlẹ̀ tó a fẹ́ gbọ́ orin.
All right, sir. Mo rò feel while they close by.
Definitely. We have a
Oh, that will come out on money.
Oh, that
Dr. Bayo Ogunyemi,
Thank you so
I'm happy to have you ní Agbaletu.
I'm also happy to be here.
Mi mo bóyá tó wọn kí. Bó ẹ bá kí
Baba.
bàbá Dr. Dike Olukoya. Ẹ bá kí wọn pé láti Agbaletu a kí wọn. A dẹ̀ ń rí àwọn nǹkan tó ń ṣe. Láti pẹ́tipẹ́ wọn kò ń ṣe àná. Tipẹ́tipẹ́ then this ṣe library náà kọ́ tó ń kọ́ high life music sí pẹ̀lú evergreen.
That's Bimbo.
Bimbo gbogbo ẹ̀ náà là ń rí wọn kú iṣẹ́ takuntakun a kí wọn. Alhaji Bayo Adegbenro, Alhaji Sulaiman Adegbenro.
Thank you.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni sir. Tó rẹ sọ pé Sulaiman yẹn pé.
Don't mind me. Throughout my days, even when Bayo knew me, everybody was calling me Bayo.
I even know you today. I saw you so
Bayo. So it's still my name. It's my name.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni sir. So mi mọ̀ bóyá ẹ máa fẹ́ share numbers ni because àwọn kan wà tó máa wò wọ́n sọ pé wọ́n fẹ́ further.
Okay, no
with
problem.
us.
We are social service launching. No problem.
Yes, sir. So no phone numbers.
081 71 35 3575. That's one of my numbers.
All right, sir.
And that's constantly my WhatsApp number. But I also receive calls.
So here too, 080 330 72425. That's my direct number.
All right, sir.
Day and night.
Thanks. And you are doing a very good job.
Thank you, sir.
Very good job.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Because archiving is part of it.
Exactly.
We are putting things on record.
We are making it easier for us. Because
sir.
although we still document them,
Yeah.
but then
Yes.
it comes faster when we
I
have
hear
an
the
opportunity to discuss
library.
like this.
The library should be on your phone now.
Yeah.
And history. Yes. Well done.
Thank you, sir.